Cars are, in a way, an extension of ourselves. What you're seen in dictates what people will think of you. Drive this, and many will want to be your friends. Drive that, and they won't. But it's not like that's the best kept secret in the world. We judge people, we judge cars, but sometimes we judge them wrongly. Hey guys, Stype here, bringing you a list of the top 7 lame cars, which are actually cool. Let's go.
Number 7.
True story now. A 1980-something Volvo 240 Wagon was my older brother's first car. And as you can imagine, for a teenage boy with a rage in his underpants, this unexciting slab of Swedish boredom that he inherited from our uncle seriously messed up his mojo.
I've lost my mojo!
It was just a big old square with even bigger squarey bumpers stuck on both ends. Practicality and safety were the main selling points, and which teenage girl would be attracted to that? But beneath all that lame sensibility lies something of a true party animal. If you've ever heard of the term turbo brick, this is where it started. This was the genesis, the first turboed Volvo, and for a moment in time, the fastest wagon in the world. Okay, 9 seconds to 60 isn't exactly Ferrari fast, but the rush from the boost certainly made it feel faster than that. It was also rear-wheel drive, so it loved the dance too. Like I said, a party animal. But I haven't even mentioned the best part yet. That big-ass trunk. Fold the rear seats down and suddenly you have acres of perfectly flat, veloured space for, you know, cattle prodding the oyster ditch, using a telescope to explore some deep space, putting the wand in the chamber of secrets, loading the clown into the cannon. You get the idea, right? As my big bro once said with a proud smirk on his face, just don't shine a black light in there. Bravo, big bro, bravo. And bravo to Volvo. You made the perfect shagmobile.
Number 6.
Hey, great news.
What?
The Dacia Sandero is almost here.
When?
Next year.
Great. Now, the Toyota Urban Cruiser.
Oh, how they laughed at this boring-looking budget car from Romania. As in, it's so cheap that there can't possibly be anything interesting to say about it. Yeah? So what? As fun as fooling around in supercars can be, most people need cars to just go from A to B, which is a task that Sandero does cheaply and perfectly well. And I do mean it. This is not some shabby, outdated ex-commie car like Dacia used to be. Nope. The brand is nowadays owned by Renault, so many parts in the Sandero actually came from this, the European Car of the Year. But my favorite thing about the Sandero is the whole honesty about it. It isn't trying to sell you some lifestyle or any higher value connected to the brand, because there isn't any. Mercedes puts their logo on some white label Pere sunglasses and suddenly it costs $1,000. Dacia does the same and they're still a $5. The same goes for this entire car too. It doesn't cost any more than the sum of its parts. Plus, check this out. Instead of some expensive built-in navigation which will suck, the Sandero comes with a built-in phone holder. On it, you have much better navigation anyway. Just clip your phone in and off you go. It's smart, it's sensible, it's honest, it's cool. Next car, please.
Number 5.
The Lexus SC430, a car famous for being named the worst car in history of the world by the Top Gear trio. But that was a bit too harsh when you consider that cars like these exist too, don't you think? But anyway, what unforgivable sins did Lexus commit to deserve such a treatment? Oh, you know, they aimed it at the sort of people who prefer to drive comfortably instead of going everywhere in a cloud of smoke. Sideways. That's pretty much it. And since Clarkson mocked it, we all should too, right? Well, I won't, because what exactly is wrong with slowly cruising around in style and coziness? Find a nice piece of the road, press a button, fold the roof down, listen to the rumbling noise of a naturally aspirated 4.3-liter V8, or better yet, play Smooth Operator by Sade, and just flow with the road. Whatever happened to savoring the road instead of attacking it all the time? Plus, this is a Lexus, which is just a luxurious Toyota, and it being from the Toyota family means that it will never break down. That metal folding roof will go up and down long after your one-eyed Willy Wonka stops doing so, and the underpowered V8 will rack up more miles than some 18-wheelers. Worst car in history, my ass. The only thing left is the grandpa image that has befallen upon it. But even that will be washed away with some nicer, newer wheels. Come on, that looks cool.
Number 4.
BMW is a company that prides itself on making pure driving machines, like this, and this, and this. So how do they explain this, then? A lumpy mess of lines that sits on a comically narrow set of tires, and above all, it's electric. Where's the purity of driving in that, is what most would say. But ignore for a moment the fact that it is a BMW, and the i3 can be quite alright. Yes, the design is still a mess, but it's also kind of funky and futuristic, and I would say somewhat cool too. Those rear suicide doors certainly help the case. Peek inside and again, ignore the fact that 90% of the materials are recycled for your virtue signaling, and just look at it. I particularly like this untreated piece of wood. Much more interesting than all that fake carbon fiber trim inside the BMW M5. And speaking of carbon fiber, the material that supercars are all supposed to be made of now, the same is used for i3's tub too. Again, cool. And lastly, the fact that it's electric and therefore can't be fun to drive, wrong. The i3 is rear-wheel driven, which is a rare for a hatchback, has a low center of mass that helps in cornering, and the instant torque from the electric motor catapults it to 60 in less than 7 seconds. What you're looking at is not some sterile and sluggish car from the future. It is, in fact, a futuristic, hot hatchback. Now that is very cool.
Number 3.
There are many reasons why people cringe at the Neon SRT4. For starters, it was based on Neon, which, despite all the roundy lines, was nothing but a shitbox. Then it was front-wheel drive only, and no matter how good those can be sometimes, they'll never be as fun as rear-wheel drive. The interior featured more cheap plastics than Hugh Hefner's funeral, and the badge said SRT4. 4, as in 4 cylinders, only. But most of all, people cringed at it because of those who drove it. Youngsters who worshipped the Vin family man, wore their caps the wrong way around, and butchered the English language with words like
yo, 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 and
dog and
bruh.
They'd get in their Neons and constantly disturb everyone with tire squealing, loud music, and big wings. But now that the cringy SRT4 owners have moved on with their lives, can we judge this car for just what it was? A ferociously fast car. Check this. The mighty Nissan 350Z does 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Neon does it in 5.3. Yeah, this baby pulls hard despite having a relatively small engine. It does have a big-ass turbo, though. Also, if you went for the optional ACR package, it was blisteringly fast through the corners, too. I mean, you gotta hand it to the SRT team. They turned a crappy Neon into one shockingly fast car, capable of beating much bigger and meaner players in the game. Kinda like a honey badger. People think this is just some weasel, when in fact it's a testicle-biting pocket of fury.
Number 2.
Tell your friend that you just bought a 2-door 2+2 Grand Tourer with a V6, and he'll think of this. Show him that you actually got the Renault Avantime, and he'll burst out laughing. You bought a minivan? And he'd be right. The Avantime does look like one, specifically this one, the Espace. And all you need to know about the Espace is that it was designed to accommodate 7 seats, all of which will be smeared with chocolate, mud, ice cream, and diaper leakage. Simply put, no one ever wanted to have a minivan. They needed to have one, and that makes them uncool. Except for the Avantime. Because it was not made for kids, this car can be a thing of desire for some people. Why not? It's a coupe with a powerful engine. It's just that it's an extravagant one. Not caring what others are doing, going against the rules, paving your own route. That's cool. Besides, you don't think that after your friend stopped laughing, he won't have like 100 questions like, what's with those taillights and the whole rear end? Why do the doors break open like that? Are you sure it's not some concept car? And lastly, a V6 you say? Trust me, this incredibly rare and weird car will be the talk of any town. It's that interesting.
Number 1.
The Pontiac Aztek is usually featured on the lists like biggest failures or ugliest cars, so what's it doing at the top of some cool lists? Well, ever heard about not judging a book by its covers? Like Volvo, this mumbo-jumbo of lines and shapes is something of a party animal too. I know it doesn't look like it, nor does it help that this was cast as a car for a total loser in a certain TV show, but it's true. The aimed demographics were hip and adventurous youngsters who would like to take their Aztek with a K on the mountain, pitch a tent, and enjoy some cool beverages and tunes. I'm not saying that just as an example. No, this is precisely what Pontiac had in mind. Check out this armrest/fridge. Fill it with beer and then take it with you. Look at these radio controls in the trunk for when you're sitting on the tailgate. And the tent that hooks up at the back of it all? Well, that's for exploring Punarnia. Tesla may have its gimmicks, but the Aztek comes with real party tricks. And finally, the ugliness. I think it makes the person owning it extremely cool. Think about it. Is there anything more cold-blooded than just brushing off any criticism that comes your way? Like, hey dude, your car's ugly. Yeah, well, I couldn't care less what you think. Driving the Aztek proves that you're above useless things like other people's opinions, and that, to me, is just the ultimate expression of coolness. And now, 3 more lame cars which I find cool. Do you agree with the list? Write down your comments, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.